something like the board should meet at least once every quarter, or it's ideal for the board to meet at least once every quarter. Okay, so that's the nature of it. So there are 28 such principles and 230 practices. We talked of the existing sectoral codes. Now, there's the principle that talks about, the board should have a good mix in terms of experience, skills, knowledge, and diversity. Now, using that principle, you see a number of practices that companies can therefore use to determine what is an ideal size of the board to achieve a good balance of skills, experience, diversity, either in terms of gender or other criteria. Okay? Because it's principles-based, companies can look at those practices and, in a thoughtful manner, apply them. Now, for the entities that will be required to apply the code, there's a reporting requirement. And that reporting requirement will kick in for financial years ending after 1st January 2020. In terms of reporting, the basis is apply and explain. So there will be a presumption that all of the principles have been applied, but it's not sufficient to end there. You then need to explain how you have applied those principles, what you have done, and demonstrate how they meet the requirements of the code. And that's where the sector regulators can also come in terms of those practices. So while the code, for example, does not specify a minimum size of the board, central bank, for example, for prudential reasons, might introduce additional guidelines against that particular principle that talks about balance of the board, and say for prudential purposes, the board of a bank should be a minimum of X and have XYZ roles. Okay? So I think, one, it provides a national framework where everything around corporate governance could hang. And nationwide, we can agree on those 28 principles. If we need to increase it or take any one out, there's a basis to have that debate and agreement. And everybody can do things consistent with those principles. The other important thing I wanted to highlight is, at least from the point of view of the FRC, we're not looking at this corporate governance topic as, or we do not want it to be an elitist discussion or topic that ends with just our large